3, 2, 1. Georgie, welcome back. I told you at some point we were going to skip some episodes. Georgie had some excuses. Whether they were valid or not,
they were valid.
Debatable. But we are back. That's the thing. See, this is what I was worried about. I was worried that after we skipped 1 or 2 episodes, or like 1 or 2 weeks, that it would just be GG's in the chat for the podcast, and that was it.
Nope.
But we're back.
The best part is coming up because the season's starting.
Start of the Premier League.
Everything's just going well, man. Everything's going well according to plan.
So now we got the Premier League starting this coming weekend. So we'll start trying to do a podcast every single week right after the game. So probably on like Mondays, which would be released maybe on Tuesday. I don't know. But it'll be at the beginning of the week going over some of the Premier League games and the performances by some of the players. But before we get into the season, let's talk about the Community Shield, because that was the big game over the weekend, besides obviously the women's Euros as well. Yeah. But you are a Liverpool fan, so I figured we'd start with the Community Shield.
What a great night. Oh, everybody wanted the trophy, obviously. The biggest trophy in England.
Jurgen Klopp said if they win it, it becomes very important. If they don't win it, it becomes a lot less important.
Which is true. I mean, that's literally how every...
Come on, you guys are celebrating like you guys won the freaking Champions League.
Okay, I'm going to say this. When Liverpool scored the goals, I mean, obviously I'm happy we scored it, and it's against Manchester City, and it's okay, there's friendly, there's Premier League season, and then the Community Shield like in between. Like, you want to win it. 1, it gives you the mental edge going into the season. 2, it's against your biggest rival, so you have like a number on them, technically, mentally, whatever you want to call it. And 3, it's good to get a trophy, no matter what it is.
Yeah, but it's preseason.
But it's not like a preseason trophy where it's like you go to the United States or Thailand and you play a game and you win the trophy against the random team. This is actually like Premier League winners against the Carabao Cup?
It is a little bit more important. Is it the FA Cup?
Yeah. It's the winner of one of those. I think it's the FA Cup.
But yes, it is more of an important trophy than going to preseason somewhere else. I get that. But does it really matter is what I'm saying.
Mentally, I think it gives you the edge going into the season. Like, imagine you lose that game.
But do you think Pep is worried going into the season?
No, I don't think Pep is worried. I don't think anybody would be worried. It's just mentally. Like, you just don't want to lose a game, like, against your rival.
It was the first game, and I did say in the first episode in the second episode, Haaland was a better signing than Nunez. Didn't have the greatest of games. Missed a couple sitters there.
Had a nightmare.
Which is okay, because it's the first game. You can never judge a person's performance by the first game. Because, I mean, some players will have a great performance on the first game and then have a crappy rest of the season, and some players will be the opposite. But I was impressed by Darwin Nunez. I'm not going to lie. I think he did well.
He came on and...
He's got a good attitude as well about him.
He came on and had maybe 2-3 really good chances where...
He should have chipped the keeper.
We hit him right in the head, right? So, I mean, he had the chances, and I like how direct Liverpool go when he's on the field. With Bobby, it's more he's linking up the play, and he's letting Salah go in behind or Luis Diaz going in behind. But with Nunez, right away, you can see Henderson, Thiago, like, just looking for him right away.
It's a good pair to have on your roster because, like you said, Bobby Firmino in the first half and before he subbed off for Nunez does a really good job of playing as that false 9, linking up play. And what he does really well is he gets into those spaces, they play him in those gaps, and then he's able to keep the ball really well so that they start possessing in the attacking third. And then by then he gets in the box. They get a couple more guys in the box, and then they have crosses and services. And then Darwin is more of like you play him in behind for the through ball, and then the guy's going to run onto it and score. Yeah. So it's good. Can you get them on the field at the same time, or do you want them on the field at the same time? Because that's going to present a problem, because then they're going to have to split game time.
I mean, Darwin Núñez can technically play on the left-hand side, and that's where he played for Benfica a lot of the time, but he looked dangerous, man. I mean, Bobby had an amazing game. We were talking about it before we started this. Like, the guy had an amazing game. I even tweeted during the game. I was like, watching this guy play just brings so much joy. The guy is world class. We had this talk. You had the audacity to compare Richarlison and Bobby Firmino. And then there was like rumors.
I compared them. I didn't say one was better than the
you
other.
Didn't.
I just said you can compare them.
And then within the time frame from that episode, there was talks of him going to Juve, leaving Liverpool, and Jurgen Klopp last week came out and said he's the heart and soul of this Liverpool team.
The reason why he doesn't get credit is because he's not a typical goal scorer where he looks for the ball in behind. He's like he's very different than Erling Haaland as well, a different type of player. He's more of a playmaker in a striker's position, right? So that's why he doesn't get as much credit because his stats are never going to be as high.
Yeah, never.
But if you look at like the build up to play to a lot of their goals or a build up play to a lot of their opportunities, he's involved in that, which is why he's so important.
But even defensively, the guy runs
And he's more
runs
defensive.
and runs and
that's-
tackles and
That's one thing I wanted to say as well, is that's why I think Liverpool did well against Man City, especially in that first half, is because defensively they're set up better than Manchester City. Manchester City, when they don't have the ball and they've gone on and they've had the ball for a little bit and then Liverpool wins the ball, Kevin De Bruyne is staying up there. Haaland's not coming back to defend. Riyad Mahrez isn't going to come back to defend. So you already have like 3 or 4 guys, which on that first goal when the ball gets out to Salah and then he plays it back to Trent Arnold, like the guys at the top of the box with absolutely no pressure. And it was a good strike and he got a little bit lucky that there was a deflection or whatever, but still you see it in the second half. I think that Manchester City adjusted it a little bit where they started bringing guys a little bit further back and then Kevin De Bruyne was kind of covering those spaces. But Liverpool are willing to do that.
Yeah.
Organized press, but also when they get beat on the press, they're willing to bring a few more guys back, which I think helped them out.
Yeah, all the play. I mean, that's the Jurgen Klopp way, isn't it? If you're not gonna run your ass back, he's not gonna.
Yeah.
You're not gonna play. Simple as that. I mean, that was my problem with Mo Salah a few years ago.
Yeah.
Like not last season, 2-3 seasons ago, because the guy, amazing going forward, selfish at the time. Well, he's a lot better now. He would not pass. Somebody will be wide open, and he would literally have a tap in, and he would not pass the ball. Now he's more willing. He's willing to pass. He's being more of a team player. But not only that, he's willing to work back. And then the past year and a half, 2, the guy sprints back, defends, does everything he needs to do. And that's the difference. That's why I was not the biggest fan before, because to fit into this Liverpool team, this Jurgen Klopp team, the way, the style, the team chemistry that they have, you have to be willing to do the work regardless who you are.
Yeah. And fortunately for them, though, they don't have to do the work defensively as often because they used to be. I feel like they used to be more of a counter-attacking team, and now they can do both. They can counter-attack and they can build up possession. Because either way, if they don't play it in behind for like Salah to run onto, they'll find him out wide, and then they'll get numbers up and they'll link up play with Firmino. What do you think about like the starting 11 that played? What do you think about them going into the season? Is that the starting 11 that you have besides, obviously, Adrian as the goalkeeper?
I would say, yeah, that has to be it. I mean, I was on Twitter. There's a big podcast that, they were on Twitter Spaces, and they were talking about how all the Liverpool fans were like, this is the worst lineup. Like, we shouldn't be playing this lineup. Like,
you guys had most of your best players. I mean, you guys had Trent. You guys had Van Dijk and then Matip, and then
Robertson on the side.
Oh yeah, Robertson on the side, and then in the middle you had Fabinho as like the 6.
Yeah.
Right. Who'd you have in front of him?
Henderson and
Thiago.
Thiago played more of a 10 this game, which is.
And then you had Bobby, Salah,
and Diaz. Yeah. Why they were not happy with it, and this is a topic that it really bothers me. Because people say Jordan Henderson should not be on this Liverpool team. The guy...
He's the captain, isn't he?
He's the captain. Yeah, he's the captain. Obviously, sometimes you can say, oh, captain is like... He's just like James Milner. Like, if you told me James Milner shouldn't be starting, I'll say, yeah. Like, when he gets on, he's the captain, whatever. But Jordan Henderson is... If you pay it... Okay, in the beginning of his Liverpool years, I understand the criticism. Like, fair enough. Since Jurgen Klopp's come to Liverpool... The guy's a totally different, like the confidence, everything he has. He does so much on this field that people just don't give him credit for. And I remember Trent having over just this past summer, he was talking about, I think it was like Under Armour doing an interview, and they asked him about Jordan Henderson as a player, like on the field, off the field, how he is. And he said, what a lot of people don't realize is me and Mo Salah don't defend as much as we should. And I'm a right back. Jordan Henderson, and he's right, because when you watch some games, Trent goes up, the same side as Salah, so they all go up, and then you see Jordan Henderson kind of slide in from that. He's like center mid, but slides in as like a right-sided, like if you want to call him right back, right midfielder, whatever it is, but he slides in and covers all that ground that Salah doesn't sometimes, or Trent doesn't, and that's been the biggest critic for Trent Like he doesn't come back. Doesn't
Yeah, but
defend as much.
when you have that many assists and that many
Yeah.
goal scoring chances created,
Yeah, and, I mean
can't
it
really
works.
complain.
It works.
it's the new, this modern football, man.
Yeah. And I think that's why Jordan Henderson is so important because not many people are willing to do the work. Like, for example, I like Naby Keita. You put Naby Keita instead of Jordan Henderson and you let Trent and Salah go up. Naby Keita is not going to do the work Jordan Henderson is going to do defensively. Like, it's just not.
Yeah.
And it's all about the balance in this Liverpool team. Or any team. But, like, he brings that balance that you need. And I think Fabinho, Henderson, Thiago is the best midfield that Liverpool have. I do like Harvey Elliott and I do like Carvalho, the two young guys. But like Harvey Elliott last year, first 5 games of the season, best Liverpool player on the field. Absolutely the best. Then obviously broke his ankle. He was out for like 8 months, 9 months. So he's getting back into it. But I do like Harvey Elliott a lot. Carvalho, Coutinho vibes. I know he only played for like 2 minutes, like 3 minutes.
Calm down, all right?
Look,
Calm down.
He plays the same exact way as Coutinho when Coutinho first came to Liverpool. I have a feeling this guy's gonna be. He's gonna within the next 2 years because we just got him from form, but he's not gonna play that much. Maybe in the cup games or come in as a sub. But this guy, within 2 years, we're gonna be talking about him as when we were talking about Coutinho.
We'll find out in 2 years. We'll find out.
If we stay with that podcast.
Okay, and then, but the thing is, you really your bench isn't as deep
No.
as like Manchester City's bench, which might be a problem later on in the season. However, I do like Ruben Diaz. He's been doing ever since he came. He's been doing really like he didn't need any time to like get like caught up to speed with the Liverpool way. Like he's been doing really, really well. So I like him as an option. Salah. You can't hate on him. I know you don't like him. I know you don't like him.
I do like him.
Salah. Georgie hates Salah for whatever
guys,
reason.
I do not hate Salah. Like I talked about earlier, he was just not passing. Like especially to Mane, there was something going on. I don't know what the whole thing was, but in the past 2 years, I'm a huge.
Well, he's
fan
been
of Salah.
better at it,
Yeah.
and I think it's because he's got players like Henderson and other players on the field that allow Salah to just focus on the attacking side of things. That makes things a little bit easier. When your team is that good, where you can just focus on just one side of the game, then I think it becomes. I mean, not saying that he doesn't defend at all, but before he had to focus a little bit more on that, and he didn't, and that's where some of Liverpool's weak spots were. And now he can. They're just saying, just stay wide, stay on the wing. We'll get you the ball, and then from there, dribble a guy or two before you shoot or pass it across the box or whatever. But yeah, Darwin Nunez did well. Should have scored like 2 or 3 goals. To be fair, he got into good positions. Chipped the goalkeeper, man.
Yeah,
You're telling me he gives you Fernando Torres vibes?
yeah, he does. 100%.
Fernando Torres in every single one of those situations would have chipped the keeper.
Yeah, he Torres would have chipped, but the penalty came from him. Terrible header, by the way, but we'll take it. And then now he's scoring the goal.
Which I get it. It's a penalty. Like you can't not call that, but at the same time, like you can't. I don't know. I feel like it just also like encourages players to just kick it at your arm. You know what I mean? Because the guy had that is a natural position for his arm. Because when you're jumping in the air and you're trying to balance yourself, you don't jump in the air with your hands down like this.
Yeah.
You jump in the air with your arms to give you a little bit of balance. So I feel like maybe that rule should be changed a little bit. Because he wasn't even looking at the ball when that happened.
No, he wasn't. But I don't know.
Or they should just change it to like an indirect free kick inside the box. Make it more interesting.
That would be
Make things more interesting. Balance it out a little bit more.
Yeah, just so it's not just
But
penalties.
we can talk about rule changes all
that's
day. So you like Fabinho?
Love.
Is he the
Fabinho.
best?
Yes.
Is he the best in that
Yes.
position?
Yeah.
As the 6?
Yeah.
Because he can slot in as a center back as well temporarily too. So he's good. I don't mind him. Thiago's the good thing about Thiago is that he's finally starting to be a little bit more consistent because throughout his whole career, the guy's never played more than like 2 or 3 games straight before getting injured.
So many injuries. Yeah.
And he's just
Even when he came to Liverpool, he had
at the beginning.
he had COVID. Then he got a big injury. He's out for 2-3 months. Then came back, played a few games, another injury, and everybody was saying, "Wow, what a flop! Thiago, this player, blah blah blah, at Liverpool, he's never gonna fit. How is he gonna fit the Jurgen Klopp style? He's never gonna do. He's gonna slow us down too much." The past year, man, the last season,
he's been good.
wow.
And technically, you can never debate that he's not one of the best players out there,
so
if not
good.
the best technical player on the field at all times. So you guys got a pretty good group. You got a pretty good group, I think, and you can't say that that's not going to be very close to your starting 11.
Oh, it's gonna be.
Why wasn't Allison playing?
Injured.
Oh, okay. I figured that. I wasn't sure.
I think that's gonna be.
By the way, you need Allison
Yes.
because
Oh my.
Adrian can't.
Did you see the pass he did to
He can't
Matip?
play with his feet to save his life.
The pass. Why not just clear the ball? This guy tried to play and then.
And I wasn't sure if like when he was yelling at people, he was yelling at people for giving him the ball back, or he was just like angry with himself that he couldn't.
I
he
think
pass it out. But
he was angry with himself.
It looked like,
but he might have been like just yelling at someone just for the hell of it.
But yeah, you guys need Allison.
But even our backup, who was really good, the young kid, Kelleher, like he was hurt as well, and he was the one who played in the Carabao Cup, FA Cup.
Adrian is actually your third goalkeeper.
Yeah, third goalkeeper.
That makes sense. Seemed like it.
Yeah, he's shaky.
Yeah, when you're playing with a team like that, you have to have a goalkeeper like Allison.
Yeah,
because that'll help you in the build-up play so much more.
Because Adrian, I don't
so
know.
let's talk about Manchester City then on the Manchester City side. All right, I think in the first half, it's funny because when I saw the halftime stat and they said they had like 56% possession, but it looked like Liverpool had more possession in that half.
I
just
think
they're more dangerous.
The first 25 minutes was more Liverpool. It was like a half of two halves, you can say. First half of the half was all Liverpool, kind of controlling the game, going like after Man City, and then Man City kind of took over, which is normal for like two good enough teams at this quality. Then
but here's the difference: is when Liverpool has the ball, Haaland's out of the picture, Mahrez is out of the picture, and pretty much Kevin De Bruyne is out of the picture as well. And if you can't get those guys consistently on the ball, that's when you're going to have a problem. And Manchester City, rarely are they going to come up in situations where they don't have the majority of the ball, and those guys aren't involved. But that's why I think Liverpool did well, because those guys weren't defending, they were staying up.
Yeah.
And Manchester City's not a counterattack team either. So it's not like as soon as they win the ball, they're going to find those guys and they're going to explode. They're looking to build out and play through some of these.
Slow it down a little bit.
And that's why I think Haaland didn't have as many opportunities. He wasn't as involved in the game as he normally would be in a game. And I feel like that's why it's his first game.
Yeah.
But they have a good lineup as well, man.
They do. I will say this. If there's few times where if this was KDB in midseason form, he would find Haaland easy. There's a few times where Haaland made those runs in behind and KDB didn't.
Yeah.
One or two, he couldn't even get the pass through. Like Henderson and Trent intercepted it. And then a few times he didn't even look to like make that pass. Like Haaland, that's what we were talking about before when we're debating Haaland, how he's gonna fit Man City. The guy wants to run in behind. City haven't had that. Somebody running in behind.
Yeah.
Like it's always been possess. And then you kind of like have a tap in the box or something. Like Haaland is like, I'm going to make that run in behind. Because he goes in behind, nobody's catching him.
Yeah,
like,
and nobody's strong enough to take him off the ball either. No,
like you saw Robertson try to get, he just got bodied. But yeah, it's his first game. Teammates are still not getting used to him. I saw Kyle Walker was like yelling at him for not coming to. But I don't think Haaland is that type of player. Anyway.
No, he's not. Well, he's not a guy who's gonna he's not a guy who's gonna get it to his feet and like that's where he's gonna be able to like play off his back or anything like that. He wants to get the ball in behind or he wants to get the ball in the box. Where he's gonna be able to finish. I think Manchester City were 2 or 3 chances away from him scoring a couple more goals. Chances that in other games they're gonna get.
Yeah.
So I still think he's gonna be a better signing. Yeah, I don't know what you guys are gonna do with that problem because it's a good problem to have. Don't get me wrong, but Bobby's playing well, and Bobby helps you guys play a completely different style than what you have to play without him. Because then you guys are just having to play balls in behind, which is good because you have someone else who can do that. But I still don't know what you guys are gonna do. Manchester City doesn't have that problem because they're gonna put Haaland. Haaland is gonna be the player, and then they're gonna find ways to get Alvarez on as well.
I like Alvarez.
I like him too. That's a good. It's a great investment for them.
So quick.
Great investment. The loan move worked out, balling out, and now he's back. And then you got players like Mahrez who are still in their prime, still going to be good. You didn't even have Phil Foden starting.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Phil Foden.
And then you got players like Bernardo Silva who are always going to be legit. Who else did they have in the middle besides him and Kevin De Bruyne?
Rodri.
Rodri was in the middle. So that was a 3. And then, what do you think about your boy Cancelo wearing the number 7 shirt as a fullback?
That's so weird. No, I don't like it.
You don't like that?
No. I mean...
Listen, here's the thing.
It just tells me they're not buying anybody else.
You think? I think this is what it says. I think it's finally about time that somebody as a fullback wore the number 7 because fullbacks now are wingers.
They are. I mean, it's fair, but...
You think, like, Trent isn't a traditional number 7.
Yeah.
But... if you look at his stats and the way he
Yeah.
plays his position, the effectiveness he has, Trent could wear number 7.
Yeah. I mean, like, don't get me wrong. I like Cancelo. Like, I think he's a really good player. But if you're giving him number 7, you're not buying anybody in attacking positions. Because you wouldn't change that number to your right back
Right.
if you're thinking of bringing in, like, a high-quality player.
Right.
So that's Man City's business is done, unless, like, they might get a left back or whatever. But my thing with Manchester City is if their defense gets injuries like they have, that's they cannot play out of the back. Did you see Bernardo had to come all the way inside the 18-yard box?
Mm-hmm.
Even he kind of like had few like, oh my, Salah could have nicked it and had like a goal scoring opportunity right away. But you're asking Bernardo Silva to come all the way back inside your 18-yard box to get the ball. That tells me your center backs cannot do that. Like, he's inside it wasn't once or twice. It was like consistently throughout the first half. He had to come all the way back. And if one of those guys gets injured, they don't have, like...
who's their replacement?
Well, Laporte, he's injured.
Okay, yeah.
He was injured. And then John Stones, he's injured as well. But, like, those are not new things. Like, these guys, they're consistently injured.
And Ake hasn't actually been playing consistently with them for a while. So for him, it's honestly like he's a new signing.
Yeah.
Because the guy hasn't played in a long time.
Yeah.
So, like, him getting... It's good that he gets this game time, but, yeah.
Look, and I'm going to say that if Bernardo Silva ends up going to Barcelona like they actually have been talking about throughout the summer, Man City are not going to win the league. He is, I know we talk about KDB, but the guy, Bernardo Silva, runs the midfield. Literally up and down. Non-stop.
Yeah, but last season he wasn't a starter the whole time.
No, he wasn't.
Because he came on in the... Was it the last game of the season? He's the one that changed it.
Yeah. And then you have Gundogan on the bench. Like, the guy
Oh,
scored.
no, that was who came on, wasn't it? Gundogan. Yeah, my bad. I'm confusing those two guys.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. The bench for Manchester City
it's deep.
It's deep.
But Gundogan had a crazy season last year. I don't know how many goals he scored, but the guy was like a false 9 type of a player and would score goals randomly.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully it doesn't happen for the sake of Liverpool and everybody else. But if he scores that many goals again, they're gonna be like it's gonna be a different level. But
I think defensively that's where their problem is.
Yeah.
Defensively, they've always been a little bit shaky, and like they've always been good to be able to build out and stuff. But I think that's where they might have some problems. And I think Kyle Walker, for example, is getting to that point in his career where he's not as effective as he was a couple years ago.
Well,
like athletically, he's starting to.
And he's
getting older.
He's never been one of the smartest players that Pep has.
Exactly.
It's more like
he's always been able to build himself out because he's been faster and more athletic. But he did get caught. He did get beat on that header. And then.
And even Luis Diaz first half had his number like a few times. And I was surprised because Diaz is like Kyle Walker's a strong guy. Like he looks like a really strong dude. Like very athletic. And then Diaz is just like bodying him and getting the ball. But Manchester City obviously they're gonna be up there. I don't know. I don't know. Like we say this every year. Oh, maybe they're not gonna do it. But KDB is getting older. I'm a huge fan of KDB.
All right, let's relax.
I'm a huge fan.
Let's relax right
I'm
there.
a huge fan of KDB.
KDB's not getting older. KDB is in his prime right now. Prime KDB.
I don't know. I'm a big fan. I'm a huge fan of KDB.
Yep.
Liverpool's his favorite team. So, I got us for,
What are you on about?
That's what he said the other day, like a few weeks ago, whatever. Growing up, Liverpool's my favorite team. The atmosphere
Growing up, a lot of these players had different teams that were favorite
obviously.
teams.
But I'm saying, like, he's, like, I got to love the guy. And he's a good player. He's a good guy. He's on the field, off the field, amazing. But he is...
he's not getting older, George.
He's getting older.
You've lost the plot right there,
He's
man.
getting older.
You've lost the plot. He's prime KDB right now. You get
injuries.
Kyle
man.
Walker's getting older.
Obviously everybody's getting older, but
like Kyle Walker's getting like I think he's past his prime now.
Yeah.
I think he's a little bit past his prime, but he is past it. KDB, I think, is still in his prime. And I think he's got 3 seasons at least in his prime. You can't say he's getting older.
Okay, I'll give you another comparison. KDB and Steven Gerrard. That's big for me because Steven Gerrard is my favorite player of all time, and I think he's the best midfielder of all time.
And KDB is better.
No. Okay,
Come on.
I'm saying there's a comparison.
Come on. You can't just say he's better because he was a legend of Liverpool.
No.
What did he do?
No,
Tell me what did he do? What
he
did
scored.
He do?
He did everything.
He was in one of the only thing that they won was the Champions League that one time with Stevie G.
And
Besides that,
yeah.
what did he do? What did they do?
Okay, it's not okay. First of all, you cannot compare that.
Yes, you can.
No, you can't. Just because you win.
It's easier to look better on a crappy team than it is to look better on a good team.
Okay,
Kevin De Bruyne stands out at Manchester City when they're winning Premier Leagues left and right. Stevie G stands out on a team full of Liverpool. If you go back and look at a roster of Liverpool players where Stevie G was on it,
yeah, it's a terrible roster, but it's also easier to play better when you have good players around you.
I'm not saying Stevie G is not a legend because I think he's a legend.
He is
but
a legend.
Don't say that he's like miles ahead of KDB or he's much better than KDB.
No, he's not miles.
I think at the end of it all, KDB's better.
Take away the trophies.
Well, you can't say that though.
Yeah,
you can't say
you
take away
can.
the trophies. That is the worst argument I've ever heard in my life. Take away the trophies.
Yes, you
okay,
can.
Spain, take away the trophies.
No. This is collect. We're not talking about collectively. We're talking about players wise.
This guy just said take away the trophies. Okay. Like that makes a valid argument.
We're talking about individual players. If you talk about individual players, you have to look at the team around them. Do you know? Can you name two players on the Liverpool team that Steven Gerrard had starting like with Brendan Rodgers' first game?
Pepe Reina.
Okay.
And Coit. Dirk Coit.
He didn't even start.
Dirk Coit was around there somewhere.
Yeah, he was around there somewhere.
What about
We had Ryan Babel. We had
Ryan Babel.
We had Milosevic, the guy who came.
Exactly. So I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Obviously, if I was a good player and actually a good player, I would stand out amongst those guys.
Yeah, but it's easier to play amazing.
Listen, if they would have won championships, like if they would have won the Premier League or like the Champions League multiple times.
Close,
if they would
very
have,
close.
Doesn't matter.
With
close,
a crappy team.
Close. I can say Arsenal was close. I can say Manchester United was close. It doesn't matter if you didn't win it. If they would have won with that team and those players, like here's the thing, like Leicester, right? Jamie Vardy, you could say Conte, N'Golo Conte. When they won the Premier League, you could say like these guys are legends because not only are they good players, but they took their team to win the Premier League.
Okay.
Stevie G.
No. Oh
Stevie
my
G.
God.
We're not gonna get into this conversation because I swear we're gonna be here for days.
We can debate this. Okay.
You lost the argument as soon as you said trophies aside or take the trophies away.
Okay. Either way, count the trophies. Don't count the trophies. Steven Gerrard is.
You have to count the trophies. This is what I'm telling you.
No, okay,
you can't just say don't count the trophies.
Yes, you can.
That makes a huge. Okay, so Michael Jordan, don't count the trophies.
No,
he's not a good player.
We're talking about individual. Okay, no. See, I hate the argument though. I hate the argument. It's like Jordan and LeBron. People are saying because LeBron didn't win as many or because he lost so many, he's not even comparable to Jordan. You can't compare like that.
Yeah, you can.
Okay.
That's exactly why people say he's not at Jordan's level.
So Bernardo Silva is better than Steven Gerrard. Don't say. I swear to God, do not say it.
Well, no. Now that's a different argument though, because I'm telling you about like the best player on a team, the standout player on a team when they win trophies, and the standout player on a team when they don't win trophies.
Okay,
that's the difference. You can't just name the worst player on Manchester City and be like, oh, can you compare him to Stevie G because he won all these trophies? Of course not.
KDB is more technical than Steven Gerrard. I'll give him that, but Steven Gerrard is way more of a complete football player than KDB. Way more complete.
I will agree he has more aspects to his game. Defensively being one, yes.
Yeah,
but
the guy was up and down. KDB.
Vision, KDB.
I don't know, Steven Gerrard. Some of those passes.
Techers, KDB. Finishing, right now, Stevie G, but only because KDB hasn't finished his career. Because KDB has hit some bangers, which Stevie G has as well.
Yeah,
I would say it's a close comparison.
Yeah, it's close. That's what I said. They're comparable. But you
came
came out saying KDB is a lot better because
I'm just saying you lost the argument as soon as you said you can't count the trophies. Don't count the trophies.
Okay, how many players that have been amazing players that you can say one of the best in the world it's ever seen did not win trophies? A decent amount.
Yeah, a decent amount.
So when you compare a player, you have to look at the people around them. KDB didn't win this on his own.
Potentially, yeah, but that's a part of it. But you also have to look at the trophies they won. Because if a player never won trophies, then you could say, yeah, he was a great player, but he was never good enough to win trophies.
Has KDB won the Champions League? Steven Gerrard won it.
KDB still got time, and I think he's gonna win the Champions League. Could be this year, could be next year. He's gonna win the Champions League. He's got a higher chance of winning the Champions League than Messi has of winning another trophy with Argentina.
Ooh, now that's a hot take right there.
Well, Messi doesn't have that many years left. He's got the World Cup, which is the chance of winning the World Cup are very slim. And they have a good potential to do it, but still,
I do think Argentina's
less competitions at the international level. So that's why I'm saying that.
Yeah.
But, anyways,
listen, this is an argument that we can go for days, but
I know.
it's close. But Steven Gerrard wins it for me.
I think at the end of it all, Stevie G retired, KDB retired, KDB. That's my prediction right now. It's my prediction. I think right now you're gonna side with Stevie G because KDB hasn't finished out his career. Watch next thing you know, Belgium wins the World Cup.
Well, if he wins the World Cup and he's the main player on there and like he is.
Even if he's not, he is the main player on there.
But okay, KDB. Look, again, I love KDB, an amazing player. But injuries, he's set out a lot more in Manchester City. So
what are you on about? He's never been injury prone. Like he's not like you're talking about Thiago. Like KDB, nobody's ever said like, oh yeah, he just had a lot of injury problems.
KDB's hamstrings and whatnot, especially what was it, 2 years ago? The guy's set out most of the time. He does get injuries.
Yeah, but he's not one of those players that you look at and you're like, man, if he wouldn't have had all those injuries, he would have been this. No. Guys reach his potential injuries regardless.
Yeah, he's up there regardless. But you still, when you pick your player, you want them to be on the field.
He is on the field.
No,
and all the important parts, he's been on the field.
And also, Manchester City win with or without him. It's not like Manchester City are losing games without him.
It depends on who you're talking. If you're talking Manchester City win against Liverpool with or without him, that's not true. If you're talking about Manchester City win against Crystal Palace without him, then of course.
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do deep research on this.
You could say that about Liverpool, though. You could say Liverpool could win without any of their star players against any crappy team. But when you play against Manchester City, if Salah's not there, or like if Firmino's not there or whatever, then it's a different story.
Steven Gerrard is... This is a completely different argument because Liverpool have a really good team now.
Listen.
Now, when you take Steven Gerrard out of that team that he was on, or some of the teams that he was on...
Liverpool does not win against a single team without Stevie G on it when he was playing. All right? Okay. See, that's the difference.
Listen.
They wouldn't win against Crystal Palace without him on there.
Steven Gerrard is the best midfielder the world's ever seen.
Oh, my goodness. Well, that's it for this podcast, ladies and gentlemen.
Zidane said it too.
I'm about to lose all my followers on YouTube, George.
Okay, obviously it's debatable in the whole world ever, whatever. Like you can.
If you were a Chelsea fan, you'd say Frank Lampard was the best of all time.
No.
If you were a Barcelona fan, you'd say Xavi was the best or Iniesta was the best of all time.
I mean, those are.
If you're a Manchester United fan, you'd say, Paul Scholes is the best of all time.
These are not comparable, though.
Relax.
These are not comparable.
Just take a chill pill, George, because you're at the end of the podcast right now. You're at your head's already gone.
No, you can't. Okay. There were comparisons between Lampard and Steven Gerrard. Those were quickly gone.
Not quickly, but yes. Most people who aren't Chelsea or Liverpool fans would side on CVG's side.
Yeah. If you're not biased, Steven Gerrard wins it. Paul Scholes, amazing player, underrated player, but Steven Gerrard wins it.
Listen, how are we gonna have podcasts to debate stuff when the Premier League actually starts if we've spent this much time talking about one game?
Yeah, I mean that's perfect.
Anyway, let's move on. We'll agree to disagree mostly. I agree with you in a lot of those aspects, but a lot of those I disagree with you because I think you've lost the plot. Okay. You lost the marbles. But anyway.
Steven Gerrard is a better player, overall, a better player than KDB.
Not when it's all said and done.
I mean, I guess.
We'd have to wait until when KDB retires, you and me will sit down and we'll revisit this argument. Okay. All right?
And I'm going to do my research about how many games he's played in the past, 4 years. I'm going to do it.
Anyway, Manchester United. Your boy Ronaldo's back, played 45 minutes, gets subbed out at halftime, and then news reports find pictures online of him leaving the stadium at halftime.
Yeah,
First of all, let me say this. I hate pundits and people who talk about this like they know who knows if could have been a lot of reasons. You found out on Twitter, it said they released a statement officially saying that a lot of the players had left at halftime. Yeah. Like they were all allowed to leave at halftime if they played the first 45. Yeah, so obviously...
Diego Dalot,
but obviously nobody's going to take pictures of those guys and post, De Gea or Dalot is leaving at halftime. because of everything surrounding Ronaldo. They're all going to take
Yeah.
pictures of him. So I hate when people say like, "Oh, he's disengaged. He's not like you could tell he wants to leave or whatever," because that had nothing to do with
Mhm.
it. But does he actually leave though? That is a valid question. Does he leave?
I think he wants to leave, or okay, I'm not gonna say he wants to leave,
I
but
think everybody knows he wants to
he
go.
would prefer
Yeah.
to leave. But if there's no no teams that want to buy him, then what is he gonna do? Like you're not gonna go somewhere lower than Manchester United. Like if you're gonna go to somebody that's like at the same level as Manchester United, you might as well stay at Manchester United and try and see if you know things can change around and maybe they can challenge for at least top four. But why would you leave and go somewhere else where you're gonna be battling for the same thing? Like it doesn't make sense. Like there's a lot of strong rumors about Atletico Madrid.
Which got shut down pretty quickly. Well, not pretty quickly, but they got shut down eventually. I think. I don't know if it was their president or someone said that wasn't true.
They don't have the funds or they can't
Yeah.
afford it, and the fans came out saying they're gonna
They don't want him
boycott
and-
and
yeah.
all that. But
Listen,
if you're Atletico Madrid fans and you
Fans
have
will
the
take him.
chance to potentially him change your whole entire club, you take him.
by the way, I think that's a terrible move if he does. It's a good team because they always finish top, but their playing style does not suit him whatsoever.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
Because what is he going to defend in a 4-4-2?
He's not gonna defend,
No.
or he's not gonna
Um,
defend that much.
But the problem with it is that now teams are starting to back out. Like he's not as wanted as he was 2-3 years
Yeah.
ago. So now PSG says they don't want him. Bayern Munich said that they don't want him. Chelsea say that they don't want him.
It's tough.
So now he's running out of legit teams that are better than Manchester United.
Yeah.
And he's still not going to go back to Portugal, probably to go back to Sporting and finish his career there. So he wants to. He's probably going to end up staying
Yeah.
for at least. But the problem is, if he stays for, he knows in his head if he stays for one more season, then his chances next season to go are even more slim.
Yeah, just because of getting to that age.
So
I don't understand it. I don't know if it's how the media portrays him.
that's
as
part
well,
of it.
Because he's arrogant. He's doing this. He did post on Instagram. The king is back on Sunday though. I mean,
And then Messi won a
and
trophy
then
that
and
day.
then and then every single account, ESPN and whatever, beIN Sports, whatever, put the king is back and they post a picture of Messi. But anyway, like I think the media portrays him in a negative way because like he's so competitive and it kind of comes out at times during games and waves his arms and isn't happy or whatever. But everybody does that. It's not just Ronaldo, but it's just he is under this like lens that people are just
Yeah, of
looking at
course.
him, which comes with like being who he is. But it does have a negative effect on other teams or coaches or
Right.
players or
Because
teammates.
they see it that way.
And they're like, oh, maybe he's not that good of a teammate or not that good in the locker room to have. Because, I mean, even when he first came to Manchester United, when he came back, they were saying that he's dividing the locker room and this. Like Rashford and all these guys
Yeah.
feel weird or they're not.
Players weren't
welcome.
happy that the desserts, nobody could have dessert anymore.
Yeah. Like, I mean, the guy's a perfectionist. Like, he wants to win.
Yeah.
And if you're not willing to be at that standard as him and do the things he does, like maybe you don't
He's-
belong there.
He's got a very similar mindset from what I've seen in the documentaries and just like over his career. He's got a very similar mindset to Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
So when I saw the Michael Jordan documentary, it reminded me a lot of like Ronaldo as well. Because in Ronaldo's documentary, it's very similar. Of like he's like, yeah, I'm gonna be an asshole, but it's because I need to win.
Yeah.
It's not like I'm just doing it because I'm just arrogant or whatever. It's because I know that this is what we need to do to win. So that's why I'm an asshole.
Yeah. And I mean, yeah, I've always thought that their mindset is alike just because of that aspect. And but it must be tough for him if as much as like he's all about confidence and all that. Regardless of who you are, I'm sure on the back of his mind he's thinking like, okay, these teams are all backing out. I'm towards the end of my career. Like I assume he's getting nervous. Like.
Yeah.
It's all coming to an end, and what a career he's had. And it's very tough to go from the best or one of the best to now want it on so many teams and keep teams keep coming out saying, "Oh, we don't want him, we don't want him."
Right.
And fair enough, they can just be saying that just to lower the price or his wages or whatever it may be. There's always something that can be in the like going on in the back, but
But he is starting to get to that point.
yeah, he's starting to
He's
get to that
finally
point.
starting to get to that point.
Yeah, and it's sad in a way that teams are like publicly coming out, "Oh, we don't want Ronaldo, we don't want Ronaldo," because like just the thought of that is like insane.
Yeah, and they know what they have to deal with when he's on the team. They're not dealing with a person; they're dealing with a whole business. They're
Yeah.
dealing with a company, like a brand.
Yeah.
So they have to. Anytime the coach says something to him, anytime the equipment manager says something, anytime anybody talks to him or interacts with him, they're dealing with not just him, but him and like 30 other people that are his team
Yeah.
or whatever. So it's a lot to deal with, and I can see why a lot of those clubs are like, "Yeah, we just don't want to deal with that right now." But anyway.
I mean, he's still gonna get you 15 to 20 goals a
Yep.
season. So like you can't say
But
no to
they're
that.
going to say at what cost, though? They're going to say at 15 to 20 goals, but there's going to be some games where we feel like maybe if we had other players on the field, it's better for our long-term investment than Ronaldo because they're looking at it long-term. Some of them are looking at it long-term. He's going to, if he doesn't stay at Manchester United, he'll find a good club. He won't go back to, I don't think he'll go back to Sporting right now, or he'll go back to Portugal or go to the MLS. I don't think he'll do that right now. I think he still wants to play at the highest level. So he'll find another club. And I think maybe it is just teams playing hard to get. And the next thing you know, the price gets lowered and his wages get lowered. And then all of a sudden he's going.
He's going somewhere. But let me ask you this. Do you think Ronaldo has any loyalty right now? Like, oh, I play for Manchester United. I'm not going to go to Chelsea.
No.
If Chelsea came knocking?
He did well where he played it smart in his moves where he went from one country to a different country in Europe. And then it's always easier to come back. And once you've played for 3 or 4 different teams like that, then the loyalty is not the same as like if Stevie G, for example, is playing his whole career with Liverpool and then all of a sudden he goes to Chelsea for the last 2 years of his career. You know? So, yeah, it's I think regardless of wherever he goes, whether he goes to Chelsea, whether he goes to Atletico Madrid, if he goes to Atletico Madrid, Real Madrid fans will still respect him.
Yeah.
And Atletico Madrid, it's like I think it's like 50 people at Atletico Madrid who held up a banner.
Yeah.
The rest of the hundreds of thousands of fans that they have over the world will gladly take
Would welcome.
Ronaldo.
If they sign him, that stadium is getting filled up just the presentation.
So, yeah, so that's just for the media again. They saw that and they want to post it and make it look like everyone in Atletico. That's not true.
I did see a reporter saying Cristiano Ronaldo has no loyalty. He would go to Liverpool if there was a chance that Jurgen Klopp would want him.
Yeah, he would. Why not? It's not about loyalty.
Yeah.
He did his time.
Yeah.
Like, you can't expect someone to be loyal after they've already given you everything that they could give you. You know what I mean? Like, if Real Madrid would be, like, upset that he goes to Atletico Madrid after him helping them win all those Champions Leagues. Like, come on.
But do you think right now, the way he's going to leave at the state that Manchester United is in...
But it doesn't matter, though, because it's not like he's the great's player on the planet right now. And it's like, I'm actually, like, hurting your roster by a lot by moving somewhere else. Like, he's getting to that point in his career where he's not as effective as he used to be. He's still going to be very effective. He's still going to be one of the best players. But it's, like, you can't expect someone to be loyal after they've already passed their prime.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I would take him. I mean, I don't know if I would take him in Liverpool now. I mean, he wouldn't fit the system and all that. But you're talking about 15 to 20 goals a season that just come out of nowhere. And also, I just think that he doesn't feel wanted in Manchester United right now. Like, Ronaldo is an emotional guy, so he needs to feel the love and, like...
I don't think that locker room is the same locker room that... He doesn't get the same feeling that he did when he was in that locker room the first time around.
And Sir Alex isn't there
Things have changed.
To, like, kind of help him and push him along the way.
The culture of the club has changed, and I feel like he understands it's not the same. It's not really the same Manchester United that he left. But that's your boy Ronaldo. Barcelona. There hasn't been much in the transfer window other than the things that were expected to happen.
Yeah.
Rafinha finally went to Barca. Been doing well so far. Fans love him. Lewandowski going to Barca. Still hasn't scored.
Yeah.
At the time of this podcast, still hasn't scored. He will score probably a crap ton of goals. But he's happy because he's there. Basically, Barcelona, and I've seen all these memes, the videos of like how they're buying their players, and it's like Chelsea setting their transfer targets, and then like Xavi just peeking out the window and like copying them and sending them to the president. I still don't get that whole thing is kind of BS because you got players like Frankie who they're telling him like they're making him feel bad saying like if you don't lower your wages
Yeah.
we can't register these players, so that's on you. It's like, dude, you
can't
don't
s-
sign players and then don't pay them what you guarantee
Yeah.
to play. That's when, if I was him and if it actually gets to that point, I'd like bring lawyers involved and be like, okay, well look, if you guys clearly aren't filling up or doing your part of what we agreed upon of the deal, then like you would have to lower my clause. The buyout clause should be whatever they want, because now he's stuck where they're like, well, you can't leave because your buyout clause is this or whatever, or your release clause or whatever, and then but we're forcing you to take less pay.
Yeah. It doesn't make sense.
That's BS, man.
It's
You
one or
can't
the
do
other.
that.
I mean, he doesn't even want to go. That's the thing.
Exactly.
He wants to stay. Obviously, like him, his girlfriend, like they want to stay in Barcelona. But if he's gonna be pointed out as like he's already being pointed out in the press that he's like this bad apple and like, oh, he doesn't want to go and he's not gonna lower the
Yeah.
wages, so like it's all on you. You can't say that.
Listen, his agents are doing a good job because they said we're not holding any discussions. It's not even like, okay, let's talk and see.
Yeah.
No, he's like, no. If it has anything to do with us lowering his
Yeah.
wages, we're not even gonna have those discussions. So
And
find a
that
different
plays
route.
that plays a huge role in the player's mind, man. Like your coach or president, like coming out and saying, "Oh, you're the one that's holding
Yeah.
us back from like registering players." Like you can't. Like, how do you think he feels at training?
Right.
Like he probably feels like an outcast now.
Yeah.
Like, he's like,
but that's not his problem. That's
No.
that's why are you guys buying players?
yeah, if you
Stop
can't.
buying players if you can't pay the ones you have already.
I mean, what I just read before we started this, they sold 24.5% of part of their.
They're selling shares left and right. They're selling
Yeah.
their TV
TV rights.
TV rights. So
That's-
they're finding ways to make more money. But that's a temporary fix.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do when you've sold 30%, 45%? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
then you
It's-
don't have anything else to sell.
I don't understand it.
However,
Like,
politics aside, do they have a chance of winning the La Liga?
yeah, they do. Lewandowski alone
Yeah.
will get you a lot of goals.
Champions League?
No.
You don't think that? Who do you think's gonna win it? Liverpool, Man City, Bayern. Like who has better chances? All those four teams?
Yeah. Not Bayern, not anymore. I don't think Bayern are. I think Bayern is still going to be a good team with Mane obviously coming in there and
And Oliver Kahn said that they're not going to buy anybody else. He said they have 3 or 4 guys within their system, young players as
Yeah.
well, that they're going to rely on.
I mean they still have a good team, but when you lose a guy that scores 40 goals, you don't
Can't replace him.
Mane
like
is
that.
an amazing player, but Mane does not give you 40 goals this season. Watch now, he scores 40. Maybe in the Bundesliga he will. I don't know.
He's
But
going to be their main guy though, and at Liverpool
Yeah.
he wasn't their main guy. He was one of their main
Yeah.
guys. So maybe
Maybe he can.
he
score
takes that
down.
on. Maybe he pulls the Benzema when Ronaldo left and
Yeah.
says, "I'm going to take this all on my shoulders, and now I'm going to be the guy."
I mean, I hope just because I really like Mane, but I just don't see Bayern up there Champions League wise. I don't know. Barcelona's it's weird because you have Dembele, they re-signed him. You have Rafinha, you have Frankie, you have Memphis. Memphis, I think, is gonna leave. I don't know. Lewandowski, you have. They're all really obviously Lewandowski gives you a lot of goals, but I don't know. I don't know. Real Madrid are still
But
like
teams are super teams now for sure, man.
yeah.
All of these teams. You look at Real Madrid's lineup, Manchester City, Liverpool, Barcelona now.
Yeah.
You got
It's-
super teams, man. So now PSG,
I think PSG have a really good chance. I mean, they're only going for the Champions League.
I think they win it if they sign Ronaldo.
Yeah.
They don't win it otherwise.
Yeah, that's what we talked about.
And I think Manchester City will finally do it. Once they get into mid-season form, you think those guys are going to be unstoppable?
Okay, I'm gonna say this: Manchester City does now win the Champions League and does now win the Premier League this year.
Well, that's an easier prediction than me saying that they're going to win it.
Yeah. I mean, they did get pretty far a few times.
I know, but I'm just saying, like, because you're saying any other team can win it, and I'm saying one team has to
Yeah.
win it. So obviously the predictions are it's a little unfair. But I think they have a good. I think they get to the final.
You
I think they get to the final.
Okay.
From there, Pep Guardiola is gonna go crazy in his head,
and
and
do some-
he's gonna end up putting Haaland as a center back and Ederson up top. Yeah, that's what he's gonna end up doing. But we'll see.
I want to say, this is not my take, but I do want to say this. I like in my heart, I just feel like Manchester City will not even be in the top 3 in the Premier League.
This man has lost the plot
I just-
twice in
I,
this
wa-
podcast.
I want to say, look, this is not my take. I'm not gonna say that's what's
Well,
gonna
you
happen.
can't say somebody
But-
else's take,
but-
George.
no,
this
it's-
is the whole
it's-
point. Is this
no,
is your take?
I know, but like I want to say it so bad, and I want to like say that that's my prediction,
So that is your prediction.
but it's not my prediction. But I want to say it's my prediction, but it's not.
That's your prediction, Georgie. Georgie, you can't say this is what's going to happen, but I'm not the one saying it. Unbelievable,
Look,
this guy.
I want to say it just because I feel that it's this team is weaker. I don't know why or how. I don't know. I just feel it. Like I just feel like
they're not going to mesh as well as they
Yeah,
have in the
I
past,
don't
even
know
though they
why.
got Holland.
yeah. I don't know why. I just have that feeling.
Holland, Alvarez,
Like you
KDB in prime form, not past his prime, George. In
You-
prime form.
look at the. Okay, we're back to Manchester City, but they lost Sterling,
Okay.
Gabriel Jesus.
Okay.
They lost somebody else.
See, you don't even remember.
those
That's
two.
the point.
You-
Okay,
you don't re-
Sterling, was he a game changer for them? No. Gabriel Jesus? No. By the way, fantastic at
Yeah,
Arsenal. I'm happy about that one.
Amazing at Arsenal.
I'm happy
But
about that one.
Jesus and Sterling always scored at random times when they most mattered.
Yes, not. I wouldn't say when it most mattered, but you can say that. But then there was a lot of times where he didn't score.
Yeah,
There was
but
times where he scored when it mattered, but there was times where he didn't score. So that's why he wasn't. If he would have scored all the time and then when it mattered, then you would have had him on the field the whole time. You wouldn't have
2
sold
years
him.
ago, Sterling. 3 years ago.
Replaceable players. That's all I'm saying.
Two,
Replaceable players.
2 or 3 seasons ago, Sterling was the best player at City. Last year,
Yeah.
Gabriel
Seasons
Jesus.
ago,
I know,
George.
I know.
Seasons ago.
But you're losing that. Okay, you sold those guys and you got Haaland. You
Yes.
got Haaland. Okay, those two.
Problem solved.
No.
And you bring Julian Alvarez back.
Okay, Alvarez.
Boom.
great.
Sterling and Gabriel Jesus replaced by better players.
No,
Right
no,
there. Yes.
no.
Yes,
No,
George.
No,
Killing me
okay,
today.
Okay, Haaland. Okay, okay, let's say Mars gets hurt. We're talking about depth. We are talking about.
Okay, let's say Bobby Firmino and Darwin Nunez get hurt.
No.
You can't say let's say that they get
That's
hurt.
different.
No.
That's different because you're losing players that could play in that position.
Doesn't matter.
Like Jesus sometimes would play like out wide, like he
But
was.
what I'm
never,
saying is we're just talking about their starting 11 because anytime you make a prediction, you say, for the most part, if everyone's healthy, this is best 11 will be better than that best 11, and this is how you win the Premier League. Yes, depth comes into it a little bit, but
Yeah.
Manchester City, we just said it has depth for days.
not in the attacking options though. Like think about it. Who? Haaland.
Gundogan.
Well, yeah. If he repeats, if
You
he had
just
one
talked
season,
about how amazing his
I
season
did.
was.
No. I did last season. I talked
This
about.
guy
look,
just
okay.
talked about how
No.
amazing his season
Yes.
was, and now he's like, ah.
No, last season was amazing. But before that, obviously he had the ACL injuries and whatever. But he's
But
if he
last
repeats
season
that,
is the most important.
If
And
he
then you just said
repeat-
Sterling 3 seasons ago.
No, look. I'm talking about depth. Look,
Unbelievable.
that's why I think they're a lot weaker because the depth is not there. If you take Mars out, who are their attacking options of the
You
bench?
can't say that though. You can't say if you take them out. Right now they have Phil Foden,
Okay.
Ilkay Gundogan,
Okay.
and Julian Alvarez, who didn't even start the game.
Yeah. So those three, you're saying those three are better in the attacking third than Gabriel Jesus and Sterling. You would take any of those
Yes.
three.
Yes, because Sterling has not been consistent. Gabriel Jesus has not been consistent.
I would not.
And now you're getting guys Alvarez, who came back from loan.
I like
In
Alvarez.
one goal, he scored like, I don't know, a crap ton of goals in one game. And then he's been scoring left and right over there. And then he comes back, and now he's going to be good. Or now he's going to be playing, which is good. Haaland, who's the most sought-after striker in the entire world.
Yeah.
Bruv, what are you on about?
I
All right,
look,
let's move on.
That's my. You know what? I'm
having
making
a-
a take.
you're having a nightmare.
I'm putting a stamp on that. Manchester City does not. Okay, top two. They do not finish top two, so they can
No,
be
no,
third or
you said
fourth.
top 3.
I did say top 3, but now I'm like rethinking everything. Okay, I want to say top
you're
3.
you're saying they're finishing third at least.
Third
best.
at best.
Got it.
Third at best. Manchester City are finishing third at best. Actually, I did make the prediction now, but we need to wait until the transfer window finishes because they might.
You just looked at the camera and
I
said
know,
it.
I did say it, but like the transfer, like I want to
Unbelievable,
make predictions when the transfer window finishes as well, because that could completely change the game if they
This
buy
guy's
two more
You're
players.
having a nightmare today. You know that?
Look, if they buy two more
Stevie
players,
G is better than KDB.
yes.
but
No,
I'm gonna change my mind when KDB retires.
no, I'm never gonna
That's
change
literally
my
what he.
mind.
That's
No,
this is
I,
the.
I will
this is how
never
you
change
sound.
my. Steven Gerrard is a better player than KDB. That's it,
All right.
and
Anyway,
he's my favorite player.
Euros, the women's. England versus Germany final. The last big three games for women's have had really good attendance numbers.
Yeah,
This one highest attendance for a Euros match,
amazing.
including the men's, which is great. Did you see the chip,
I did.
bruv?
That's
That was
a
crazy. That was perfect.
Yeah.
A perfect chip. It
Yeah.
doesn't get any better than that.
It doesn't. It doesn't.
And then the celebration afterwards reminds you of the what's that Brandy Chastain in the
Yeah.
United States when she did it back in the
Actually,
day.
Yeah.
It's good for the game, man.
It's amazing.
It's
just
exciting.
It's amazing to see so many people care about the women Euros, just because we often talk about how it's not it's not the same. It's not looked as the same. It's not hyped up as much. But it's in England, man. They
Yep.
made it. This tournament was really really good to see, and obviously England beating Germany, and I think there was a stat that Germany never lost in like once they get to a certain point, or I don't know exactly what the stat was, but they've never been beat.
Yeah, I think the coolest part about it was the fact that the game was actually a really really good game,
Yeah.
and that's what really helps the sport grow. Because I've always thought this when it comes to male sports versus female sports, or just anything in general. People at the end of the day want to see something being played at the highest level, and typically for the longest time that's been the men. For football, that's been the men. That's why they always they care more about the World Cup, Champions League than watching some of the games with the women. But now the game with the women has grown so much to the point where it can also give you the same emotions that the guys' game is giving you, and you have this many people supporting it. I think it's going to be really good for the next decade of sports, because
It's only
now
gonna get better.
it's only going to get better. And now what I think that the United States needs to do is they need to continue doing that, because England did a good job of it, because obviously the final was played at Wembley, which
Yeah.
they even moved the Liverpool Man
Yeah.
City Community Shield
Yep.
because of that game,
Because
which
of
is
that.
great, because that game is more important than
Yeah,
the Community
yeah,
Shield.
100%.
I think it would have been disrespectful and BS if they would have kept it at there, and then they
Yeah.
would have had the women play at
Yeah.
Leicester or whatever.
Mhm.
But yeah, I think it's good for the game, and I think that game was it was an intense match.
It was.
And now you see that the women are actually catching up to the women all around the world are catching up to the United States.
Yeah.
Before it was like the United States was beating everyone; they
Mhm.
could beat anyone. But now, the women,
Every country is
In
putting a
Europe.
lot of effort
Yep.
into the women game, and
resources are getting better.
Yeah, and like you said, it was a high quality game. So even people that usually don't watch the women's side are now like, okay, this is really high quality football. It's not like you're gonna watch him like, oh, it's not really that fun, entertaining. It had everything. That game had absolutely everything, and the whole tournament was good. It's not like just that one game was so good. The whole entire tournament was good, and just to see the turnout of how many people showed up to games, how much. Usually, like when you talk about like the men's side, the women's side, I don't see anything on Twitter about the women's as much. My whole feed on Twitter
Yep,
was
the Euros.
Euros, women.
And I think the story it works out that the story ended with the England winning it.
Yeah,
As much as obviously Germany could have won it,
yeah,
and it was a close game, it ends up better with England
the
winning it
home.
at home.
yeah. That's
Yep.
perfect story, perfect ending to the story. And I hope it keeps on growing and growing the sport for the women's side. And I think now with the Euros, how amazing it was, the sponsorships, the money put into the resources and everything will just keep on increasing.
Yep.
And then, like you said,
Needs to happen again for the World Cup.
yeah, the United States needs to like make sure that they're still on top of their game, because there's so many
They're
teams.
getting challenged now.
Yeah,
They're
so
losing
many
games
teams.
against some of these teams.
So many teams are coming after them, and again, it goes back to resources, or obviously I would say like every team, every country has their time, but the United States, it's always been their time until now.
Until now.
So I think that's part of why there's a lot more interest now, because up until now it was like, oh, they're gonna play, United States is gonna win, it's whatever. Like now,
Yeah.
I think it's a lot more interesting because there's so many other teams that could potentially win it on a given day. So
So that's good. That's good. I was excited to see that. It was all over my feed as well.
Yeah, that's all I saw. Like, I didn't even see anything about Liverpool, Manchester City, which is, it's Community Shield. They moved the game, like you said, which is perfect because
And they've been doing it really well in Spain as well because all of the fans turning up for Barcelona
Yeah.
games. Crazy.
yeah,
So now if they can just do that on a consistent basis,
that's amazing.
now we have twice as much to like talk about
talk about, yeah.
and see. And I think that's exciting because let's be honest, it hasn't been as big or as popular as men's,
yeah
ever.
It was
but
not-
now it's getting there.
it is. I mean, just to have 90,000 people plus show up, whatever.
It's
it was,
crazy.
that's. Can you imagine? Like,
Yep.
some of the women out there probably have never played in front of that many people.
Yep.
Or anywhere close to that. So just to have that experience, and like you said, England to win it at home, it doesn't get better than that.
Yeah. So good for that. And then I think that's a good way to end it. That's a good
Yeah.
time to finish the podcast for today, especially after the fact that Georgie at least twice or 3 times during this podcast has absolutely lost the plot.
Listen, what are my hot
And
takes?
I'm going to need to find a replacement. So if
hot
anybody's
takes,
out there.
Hot takes. Manchester City does not finish top 2, so third best
Mhm.
in the Premier League.
Stevie G
Stevie
is
G
much
is
better than KDB.
Not much better. Steven Gerrard is better. Steven Gerrard is better than KDB, and I told you KDB gives me those vibes because of the long strides, the shooting, the passing. KDB is more technical. I'll give you that. Steven G is more of a.
Those are Georgie's hot takes,
More of a heart
which
type of player.
I completely disagree with. But
You do not complete. You told me it's close.
yeah, but I disagree
Yeah, but not completely.
Yeah, because if the argument is that Stevie G is better than KDB,
You
I
say it's very
completely
close. It's
disagree with that
debatable.
argument. But I completely disagree with that argument.
Mm.
Anyways, that's it for this one, guys. Make sure you guys keep following us on the YouTube channel where we'll post the full videos, and then we'll post a couple of the smaller clips on our social media, which is at the NGW Podcast. Instagram and Twitter is the two that we're using right now to post all of these little tiny clips. And yeah, that's pretty much for this one.
If you want any more hot takes, tune in for the next episode of this podcast. Listen, those are good takes. I'm telling you right now.
Gigi's in the chat for this podcast. See you later.